to overcome insecurities. Bill had an insecurity. His insecurity was that he was bow-legged. This wasn't something he told a lot of people about because, well, he felt insecure about it and he didn't want to draw attention to his bowed legs. But he started dating a girl named Lucy, and he didn't want Lucy to notice that he was bow-legged because surely she would dump him. In Bill's mind, if anyone saw a guy who was bow-legged like him, they would probably say that it looked funny or it looked weird. They wouldn't feel comfortable being with that person long term unless they had a chance to really get to know his inner qualities. And so Bill had a strategy to hide his bowed legs from Lucy and from the rest of the world. And so what Bill would do is he'd always wear bigger pants. And since the bigger pants were baggy, then that would hide his bowed legs. But Lucy didn't like the big pants that Bill would wear. And so Lucy would sometimes make little comments and complain, why don't you wear some slimmer fits? Why don't you wear some better fitting pants? And Bill would just make some sort of excuse. And finally, one day, they're sitting down, they're having ice cream, and Bill's ice cream drips on his khakis right before an event. And Bill goes, oh no, these are my favorite khakis. And oh, great. I'm really happy that that happened because now maybe you can get some new pants. And Bill said, what's wrong with my pants? And she said, I just don't like that you wear pants that are so baggy. I would prefer you wore pants that were better fitted for you. And Bill says, Lucy, you know, we've been going out for almost a year now. I have to be honest with you. I'm bow-legged. And Lucy said, yeah, I know that. What did you want to tell me? He said, well, that was it. That's why I have the baggy pants, because I'm trying to hide the fact that I'm bow-legged and I'm insecure about that. Lucy said, I know, that's why I want you to wear tight pants, because I like the bowed legs. And Bill's mind was short-circuiting at this moment. You like the bowed legs? Yes, Lucy said, I like guys that are bow-legged. I don't know why. It's like in childhood, maybe my grandfather or something was bow-legged. I'm not sure. I guess I'm attracted to that. That's one thing I liked about you from the beginning when I first met you in the gym. And then Bill had to switch his whole perception and mindset around his insecurity. You see, the very thing that we are insecure about could be the thing that other people find attractive or desirable about us. So we need to be able to rewire our brain through reframing. Reframing is a technique where we change the way we think about something by contextualizing it different. So what that means is, instead of looking at something as a bad thing, we can look at it as a good thing or as helpful to us. Instead of looking at it as bad, we can look at it as good or helpful to us. And then what would happen if we did that with our insecurities? What if instead of feeling like I'm the only girl at my office, we felt like I'm a trailblazer in this industry? And we reframed looking at things from a negative to a positive. Instead of I'm the only minority here, I'm an ambassador to these people. Instead of I have big ears, we could say I have good hearing or a unique feature. What would happen if we actually could reframe our insecurities? Well, it would change the way we feel. You see, the reality of insecurities is they cause us to be self-conscious, but that self-conscious is really what? Other people conscious, right? Because we're too busy trying to be in their heads. And so we're saying, oh, they probably think this, and they might be judging me and feeling this way about me, and they're not going to like me. And we're doing all of this. They are thinking, but we don't know what other people are thinking. We're making it up in our head. In our heads, they're judging us, not in theirs. In our heads, they're judging us. In our heads, they don't like something. We're predicting the future. If I go there, they're not going to like it. If Lucy sees my legs, she's going to leave me. And so all of this future pacing really becomes negative because we're going and we're creating a negative outcome. And why do we do this? Well, due to trauma, which we have all had at some point, we felt that maybe if we just prepare ourselves for the worst, it won't hurt us as bad when it really happens. So we tell ourselves, yeah, this man doesn't really love me because no man can love me. Yeah, this woman's going to leave me. Yeah, he's going to cheat at some point. We have all of these negative outcomes. We're going to get in an accident. It's going to be too cold. It's going to be too hot. All of these negative things that we're telling our brain to protect ourselves from the potential of disappointment, pain, abandonment, trauma. We're just trying to survive. But does being negative really protect us? Does being insecure serve us? Well, being negative, of course, doesn't protect us. It really does the opposite of protect us. It makes us more vulnerable, more raw to what could come our way. Because there's an inevitability in life that we will face some adverse life circumstances, right? Sometimes things won't go our way. At times, we will face things that are unpleasant. So how do we best prepare for those things? How do we best prepare for the things that are coming our way? Well, when we stay in the negative, in the trauma, well, this happened to me once, so it's going to happen again. We could be like that child that against his parents' instructions is picking at the scab. We're not letting it heal. If it doesn't heal, then the skin doesn't become strong and it's not prepared for life. We keep picking at a scab and picking at a scab. It's going to have an adverse effect. It's going to cause greater scarring once it ever does heal. And in the meantime, it stays exposed to further illness and contamination. We can get an infection because we keep picking at it instead of allowing it to heal. Likewise, when we've been through some trauma or drama, someone's hurt us, they've betrayed us. If we keep thinking about all of the worst case scenarios, all of the worst things that have happened, all the worst things that will happen, and how we just can't take it anymore, we can't take it anymore, we could never go through that again, and we keep doing that and doing that and doing that to ourselves, we are picking at a psychological scab. We don't allow the psyche to heal. Am I making sense? So we have to be able to allow our psyche to heal. And how do we do that? Well, instead of picking at it with all of the ripping open of the same trauma over and over and over, living in the trauma repeatedly, all of the negative thinking, we need to reframe the way that we handle that particular injury psychologically. We need to reframe it. Reframing, again, means looking at it from a way that's potentially positive, or seeing something that we looked at as bad as being good. If Bill would have reframed for himself that his bold legs could potentially be attractive to some women, then he wouldn't have kept wearing pants that Lucy hated, and she would have seen more of what she really liked, which would have strengthened their relationship. But really, he was repelling her with his insecure behavior. It's the truth that our insecure behavior repels others. So insecurity doesn't protect us. Insecurity is offensive to others. Insecurity can cause us to offend others, as well as harm ourselves as well. Right? Because someone says, hey, I would like to honor you with this or that, or buy you this, or take you here. Well, we're insecure. We don't want to go on the trip because we don't want to be seen in a bathing suit. We don't want to accept the award because we don't want to speak publicly, because we're insecure. The insecurity is actually robbing us, and it's disrespecting others. This makes our mate feel bad when we're too insecure to allow them to see us vulnerable or naked. It makes our children feel hurt when we're too insecure to allow their friends to come to the house. Our insecurity causes other people pain, so we need to get over our insecurities, and that's what we're going to learn how to do right now. So how do we do this? How do we overcome our insecurities? So what I'm going to show you is a graphic on framing. So it's a framing chart to reframe your insecurities. What we have here is an overcome insecurities reframing chart. And I'll make this chart available on the website, mindfree.org. And where you want to start is with asking yourself what. So you're identifying what the actual thing is that you need to reframe, what the actual insecurity is. Then you're going to go into why and ask yourself, okay, why am I feeling this way? What is it about this that bothers me? Then you're going to dig deeper, asking yourself, why does this matter to me so much, until you can identify the beliefs and biases that are detrimental to you. Then you're going to reframe the detrimental, distorted beliefs by coming up with what is beneficial and accurate to the self. And you're going to write those new beliefs on a piece of paper. And then you're going to practice. And by using the repetition of practice, it's going to help you to be able to sound down in the mind the new neural pathways, the new way of thinking, so that you learn to think that way on a regular basis. The old neural pathways are right now negative around this insecurity. So we can work through this right now. We'll do it together. Okay, so let's use big ears as an example. So let's say I have an insecurity around my big ears. So we start off with identifying what it is, and I'm going to write down on my piece of paper, I have big ears. That's my identifying. Okay, I have big ears. Identify the particular insecurity or undesirable feeling that we're feeling and write it down on a piece of paper. So you write down on your page, I have big ears. Then you go into the next section, which is why, questioning the self. You're going to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? So then I think about it. I have big ears, and that makes me feel insecure. Why do I feel insecure about my big ears? I might say because I was made fun of as a kid, because I think they make me look ugly. Good. Let's go deeper. So we go into the second why. We're digging deeper. Why does this bother me so much? Okay, I was made fun of. Okay, I think I look ugly. Why does that bother me so much? Why does that matter to me so much? And then I come up with, well, because if I'm ugly and if I'm getting made fun of by people, I can't be taken seriously and I can't be successful in life. So we write that down. I can't be successful. On this step, as you'll see is written on the chart, you want to identify the biases and beliefs that are detrimental to you. At this step, you're identifying the bias and the belief that's stopping you, that's detrimental. In this case, it is my big ears mean that I can't be successful. Do you see how that's detrimental to my life? So I gotta fix the situation. My big ears mean that I can't be successful. That's what I've come up with. That's a detrimental way of thinking, a detrimental belief. It's even distorted. So now I need to go into this next step, which is reframing. I need to reframe. How do I reframe? I'm going to change it from thinking of it in a negative way to thinking of it in a positive way. This paragraph says, reframe the detrimental, distorted beliefs to beneficial, accurate beliefs. Reframe the detrimental, distorted belief to beneficial, accurate beliefs. You're going to write the new belief on a piece of paper. For example, detrimental thought, I'm ugly and unlikable, would be reframed as, I'm beautiful in my own way, and some people will like me as I am. So let's go with big ears. How can I reframe a insecurity about big ears, specifically that I can't be successful if I have big ears? How do I reframe that? I have a detrimental, negative belief around this. I'm saying I can't be successful with big ears. How do I reframe that? God gave me these to hear better. Beautiful. I can be successful. Despite my big ears. Correct. I will be successful because I have big ears, so I can hear more opportunities. Correct. My ears are unique and have nothing to do with my success. Correct. Many cultures believe big ears mean wisdom. Correct. Some people are successful because they are different. I am no different than them. I can be successful too. Correct. My big ears are unique and someone will like them just as they are. Correct. Big ears don't determine success. Correct. I can be successful no matter the size of my ears. Correct. My big ears are cute. Correct. There wasn't a wrong answer here. Nice job. These are reframes. So I'm going to write my reframe down. My big ears are cute, and somebody's going to like them, and they have nothing to do with being successful. Then I might even think of what evidence do I have that big ears have nothing to do with being successful? And then I start thinking of all these big-eared billionaires and millionaires and successful people who have really big ears. I won't name them because that's not the point. But there are so many that have really big ears. They're sticking out and they're killing it. They're just doing wonderful in life. So now I realize as I examine this evidence that my original belief was not accurate and it certainly wasn't helpful. I have successfully reframed my thinking around having big ears. That is a successful reframe. My big ears are cute. Somebody will like them and they have nothing to do with my success. That's my new reframe. Now, here's the key. The old thought still exists. It's still going to be there, so to speak. What that means is that it already has a groove worn into the brain, a neural pathway. The old thought already has a groove in the brain. It doesn't disappear overnight. But what does happen overnight is we created, in that moment of reframing, we created a new neural pathway. This new neural pathway is weak. It's a little baby, right? The old neural pathway is a superhighway. We've wrote it many times. I can't be successful with big ears. I can't be successful with big ears. It's an old neural pathway that we've taken so many times. These neural pathways are like well-worn grooves in a forest that you walk down, a road, a path that's well beaten, right? So then it just is a clear, open path. It's easy to take. The new path that we just carved out is very fresh through this wilderness of our mind is big ears are cute and I can be successful despite the big ears has nothing to do with my success. That's great. That's true. But it's a fresh pathway. How do we get it so that our mind automatically thinks this way? The insecurity is in our mind. It's not out there. It's here. How do we get it so that we can think this way? How do we make this path well-worn? We have to think it and use it over and over and over again. We have to walk this path. We have to beat this path over and over and over again. And that's what takes us to our last step, which is practice, repetition. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to literally do reps while you're sitting there in front of your piece of paper. You have your old way of thinking. My big ears means I can't be successful. You got your new way of thinking. Big ears are cute and I can be successful despite having big ears. Okay, now what do? It says bring up the original thought. Okay, my big ears, I'm insecure about them. Then mentally reattach the new beneficial accurate belief, but they're cute and they don't determine my success. Now repeat it at least 3 times. Okay, I have big ears. I'm insecure about them, but they're cute and I can still be successful despite having them. That's 1. I have big ears. They make me feel insecure, but they're cute and I can be successful despite them. That's 2. Do it again. You do this right there in your head. You can talk to yourself out loud, but you got to do it. It's mental reps. Number 3, My big ears make me feel insecure, but they're cute and I can be successful despite having them. Now, what happens as I do this repetition? I'm already opening up the neural pathway. When you open up the neural pathway, it makes that pathway easier for the energy of the mind to divert to. The energy of the mind will go to where we're placing the emphasis and where there's an emotional charge. Again, the energy of the mind will go to where we place the emphasis and where there is an emotional charge. As you continue to place the emphasis on this new thought that contradicts the old thought, which is, my big ears are cute, and I can be successful despite them. In fact, I will be successful no matter what. This old thought still exists. Can't be successful with big ears, but it doesn't have an emotional charge anymore. Whenever we see the thought, we just observe it as a thought. Like, oh, yeah, there's that. But then there's this, which I deliberately believe in. And as you keep diverting the energy here deliberately, this old thought becomes smaller and smaller because the neural pathway literally starts to close like a forest that overgrows a path so that the path eventually is not there anymore. That's how the mind works. Everything in nature actually works that way. In fact, scientists believe that if a city was left alone, unmaintained for just 100 years, it would become totally overgrown by nature. And your thoughts are the same way. If you neglect a way of thinking, if you neglect a thought, it will become completely overgrown within time. The brain will overtake it, and it will cease to exist as having that same energy anymore. Again, this thought still exists at first, but over time, gradually, it starts to disappear as we continue to divert the energy here. It loses its emotional charge because we have a new way of thinking, which has a new emotional charge. And you might even find that you start to dream at night about the old thought because your subconscious mind is bringing to you subconsciously this old way of thinking to ask, hey, what are we doing with this? You'll notice in the healing process, old things will come up in your dreams because the subconscious at nighttime when we're sleeping the brain goes through and gets rid of thoughts, ways of thinking, beliefs, understandings, and memories that are not good for us, that are not serving us, that we don't use anymore. But it doesn't know what we're supposed to keep and what we're supposed to let go unless it receives from us the signal. You give it the signal by what you focus the mind and the energy, the emotional charge on. So when you focus your emotional charge on what's positive, what's beneficial for you, then that will be kept. And when you give just a passive, like, oh, yeah, there's that thought, but I don't believe in that. And you keep saying that, I don't believe in that. You know what the mind will do while you're sleeping? It'll keep pushing it back further and further and further because the brain is efficient. It cannot keep all of this extra garbage up front. It needs to sift through the millions of pieces of data that you are getting every single day. And that's part of what's happening during the dream process, is sifting through all of this data and saying, what about this? Is this important? What about this? Is this important? We've got these old memories. We got these ideas. We got these thoughts. We got these fears. We got these concerns. We got these anxieties. And so setting up all these scenarios and you're in these weird stories and you're wondering, why is my brain doing this? It needs to know from you. What are we keeping and what are we getting rid of? When you give passive, no emotional charge to an old way of thinking, the brain eventually gets rid of it. When you focus on a new way of thinking, the brain takes that on. You can actually build for yourself an enhanced, improved personality. Dare I say, a new personality altogether. You can deliberately build for yourself a new personality. That's how powerful this is. It's not just about overcoming one insecurity, but we got to follow the steps. So let's go through the steps one more time and see how we can use them in our life. And then we're cutting out of here because At a certain point, we just got to get this. I'm going to put this up on the website, this graphic, and then you got to use it. Text me if you need help with it. Let's review. Let's say my insecurity is going to the beach because I don't want to be seen in a bathing suit. So I start with the what. I identify what the situation is. Situation is I'm insecure about being seen in a bathing suit. Gotten a little bit older. I got some stretch marks and I've had some kids or whatever it is. I'm worried about cellulite, something. I just feel insecure in a bathing suit. Okay, good. Now I've got it identified. Next step, question. I got to ask myself why. What is this? Why do I feel this way? Okay, well, I feel insecure in a bathing suit because, I don't know, I look at all the beautiful ladies in the magazines and they all look great. And I just don't feel like I look like them. There's a beauty standard and I don't feel like I measure up to that beauty standard. Okay, great. Let's go deeper. Let's dig deeper. Why does that bother me so much? Why does it matter to me so much that I don't live up to a beauty standard? Well, because I believe that if I don't fit society's standard of beauty, then I am doomed to be unsuccessful and unhappy and never find love. That's why it bothers me so much. Bam. What have I done? I've identified a belief or a bias that is detrimental to me. It's cognitive distortion. Here it is again. I believe that if I don't measure up to society's standards of beauty, then I won't be successful and I won't get what I want. Okay, now it's time to reframe. Now I've identified it. The negative thought is if I don't measure up to society's standards, then I won't be successful. I won't get what I want. How do I reframe that into a positive? How about if I don't measure up to society's standards, doesn't matter at all toward my potential inevitable success. My success is inevitable. It'll be despite the way I look. It may even be because of the unique way that I look. How about the fact that this one thing that I'm concerned about is something that is somewhat changeable? Because with a certain amount of work, I can actually alter the shape of my body to the positive. So now I've created a new positive reframe. I can be successful no matter how my body looks. I have some control over how my body looks. A more positive reframe. I have some control. I can be successful no matter what. Okay, good. So now I've created the positive reframe. Now what do I need to do? Practice, practice, practice. I got to use repetition. Got to bring it to mind 3 times. I'm insecure about being in my bathing suit. Oh, it doesn't matter how I look because I'll be successful no matter what. And I have control. I have some control over how my body looks. Again, repeat it 1, 2, 3 times. Then I've done the exercise. Now I've actually can say I've done the work. Okay, good. Now I need to continue to look for confirmation of that bias in my life and keep repeating that. Hey, it doesn't matter. I can wear this. Da, 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 da. Now I start living that way. I start changing my behavior. I go to the beach. I'm wearing the bathing suit. I'm rocking it. My cheeks are out. Cellulite's out. Everything's jelly. It's all over the place. And guess what everyone says? Man, you're amazing. Your confidence is amazing. Your aura, we love you. You look great. I wish I had that confidence. Da, da, da. Now we're getting what? Confirmation of our bias, which is what? That we can get what we want, that we can be successful, that we can be loved despite the way we may look in our bathing suit. Then because of our behavior of being that we're in control to some degree, we're working out, we're going to the gym, we're doing the exercise videos that we're downloading from YouTube. We start to see a positive change in the body. Then again, what do we get? We're getting compliments. And what do we see in the mirror? We see something we like. And then what is that? That's bias. It's confirmation of our new bias, which is that I'm in control and I will be successful no matter what. And I'm beautiful. My butt is cute. My ears are cute. Insecurity doesn't serve you. You think you're protecting yourself by being insecure? You're not. You're holding yourself back. And so we don't want to be like the gentleman at the beginning of the story who was actually repelling the woman that he loves by being insecure. We need to let it all hang out. We need to be authentic, unique to who we really are. Let it show. Don't dim your light. Let it shine.